Hello again, this is Kevin Benedict, SAP Mentor alumnus and electronic invoicing industry participant, and I have the pleasure of spending time with Scott Lewin again today.
Hi,
Thanks,
Kevin.
thanks for joining us, Scott.
Thank you.
And Scott's the CEO of eInvoicing International, and he's also an expert in electronic invoicing all around the world. I've known you for many years in different areas and different focuses. So with your expertise here, can you share with our audience today what you're seeing, especially in the area of Latin America, around electronic invoicing mandates and requirements, and specifically, how are you seeing this impact SAP users and other ERP users?
Sure, Kevin. When you look at Latin America and you look at SAP, a few things have to be considered. Number one, the requirements in Latin America are constantly changing, which makes it very difficult for a large software vendor to keep up to date. I mean, they have so many products, so many areas of expertise. If the requirements in a country are changing sometimes several times a year, it makes it very difficult to continuously release updates to support those on a timely basis.
Can I just stop for a moment and ask you, why are they changing so rapidly?
Sure. The governments are evolving their requirements and their regulations. You can't start day one with a complete inbound, outbound, real-time process and expect your country to be able to support that. So they start taking steps, small steps, maybe outbound invoicing, maybe a few fields are validated, and then once they're comfortable, people are on board, they go to the next step, and they make this process tighter. Maybe they add now the inbound process. In Brazil, we're seeing that they're adding freight invoices this year to the requirements. So the governments, they want to move to a very, very tight process covering many different types of transactions, but you can't do that on day one.
So I've had the opportunity in my career to spend a lot of time in SAP environments, and one thing that I found true throughout all my experience with SAP is they move at a much slower rate than that.
Sure.
So how can people using SAP keep up with mandates that are changing monthly at times?
Well, that's why a SaaS solution that shields this complexity from the core ERP is so attractive. What we do is offer extensions into SAP, and those extensions cover these requirements. It allows the user to do all of the e-invoicing processing, monitoring, validation inside their ERP, but we're the ones providing these extensions and maintaining these extensions as the regulations change. And in our model, we do all of that at a fixed fee, so you don't have to worry about, another consulting project, how do I budget for this? You know that this e-invoicing requirement is going to be maintained by eInvoicing International.
So can you touch a little bit more on what you said, fixed fee? So what does that mean as a model?
Sure. That means companies know exactly the total cost of the project to get live and the total cost to process invoices on an ongoing basis. No surprises, no additional projects. They know that if they're working with us, we're going to support all of the changes to the regulations as they occur. For example, all of our customers in Mexico now are being moved to the new CFDI 3.2 requirement, which requires several more pieces of data to be sent to the government back and forth. And we're doing all of that with no financial impact to the customer. And we've moved, last year we moved all our Brazilian customers to NFE 2.0, again with no additional projects, consulting costs from Invoiceware. And that's what they've been asking for, and I think it's very well received.
So Scott, this is the third in the series that we've done in these interviews, and in each episode 1, 2, and 3, we've all touched on the rapid pace of changes. What are you seeing change right now in Latin America in the requirements for electronic invoicing?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, in Mexico, we're seeing the move to CFDI 3.2, and that adds some additional fields to the required transaction that's sent to the government for validation. So we're in the process of moving all of our customers to this new standard, and they should all be up and live by June. In Brazil, there's some dramatic changes, especially on the receiving portion of the electronic invoicing, meaning what do you do when you receive invoices? And it's actually moving to what you and I used to know as event orchestration, or for those in the EDI world, more kind of the Rosetta Net process. Yep. What the government is requiring is that when you receive an invoice, you need to send an acknowledgement back to the government before you process it. And what they're trying to reduce is a concept called ghost transactions. There's a problem with certain unscrupulous companies issuing invoices at the end of the month and then canceling them the first of the following month without ever informing their partner. And the government is trying to reduce this. It makes it very difficult to have valid audits, and so many of the large companies in Brazil are actually advocating this change, because again it further tightens the process to reduce the potential for fraud. So that's moving towards late summer as a requirement. Also in Brazil, they're adding another type of transaction called a CTE, or a freight invoice, which is going to have to go through the government validation process, just like traditional goods or service invoices.
So you're talking about all these changes, and they seem a huge amount of changes. How are you helping your customers meet that? Talk to me about what it really takes on your side of the business as a vendor, as a SaaS, a software as a service model provider, or as a software as a service provider. What does it really take for you guys to stay on top of this?
Well, first of all, we have to know about these changes. So we have experts in the different countries letting us know about the discussions with the tax authorities even before they're announced. And that's critical for us to be able to start preparing, because if they make an announcement on January the 1st and want adoption by June the 1st, that's a short time period. Typically, we know about these discussions in advance, and we're starting to work on those. So when a change is announced, usually within 4 to 6 weeks after that announcement, we're ready to help our customers start moving and meeting that requirement. So that's critical. And then you have to have the staff and the expertise both on the electronic invoicing side and within the different countries with different language skills, as well as on the ERP side. You have to understand how can this ERP system meet these requirements, or where is there a gap? And if there's a gap, we have to fill that gap in our platform, because you can't wait for the ERP to release new OSS notes or updates. The government doesn't want to hear that. So those are the areas where we make a major impact.
Very good. Well, Scott, this is the third in the series, and for the viewers out there, if you've missed series 1, 2, or 3 of this interview, I'd encourage you to look it up so you can hear the information that's really hard to find. I've had a lot of companies call me and email me saying, where do you even find this information? And we've got an expert here in front of us. So thank you very much for sharing, Scott.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Good to see you.